Hey there, you just clicked on First Down Punts. Nice move. This is a podcast about football and how it relates to fantasy football. Hope you like what you hear. We're going to get this thing started. Let's get crazy. And welcome in, everyone, to another episode of First Down Punts. I'm your host, Coach Chris. Today we're going to be going over our Week 1 fantasy start-sit questions. We'll go game by game, Thursday, Friday, all day Sunday, and then the Monday night game we'll finish it off with. And we will get into who to start, who to sit, and a sleeper for each game that could pop off unexpectedly. Before we get into that, a couple things to note. Gabe Davis has re-signed with the Bills, as well as Jaylen Warren got a 2-year extension to keep him there in Pittsburgh through 2027. And the depth chart came out in Pittsburgh, said it was Jaylen Warren, Kenny Gainwell, and then rookie Caleb Johnson. I find that hard to believe, but we'll see how it goes week 1. But we're going to get into this. Let me do a little screen sharing here. All righty. As you can see, week 1 starts sit for the Cowboys-Eagles. Our first game of the NFL season is on Thursday night. The Eagles will, I'm sure, do a little celebration for their defending championship now. And the Cowboys, who have just traded Micah Parsons to the Packers recently, will be lacking a little on defense. But they did get Kenny Clark back, and I'm a big fan of Kenny Clark. I'm a Lions fan. I've seen Kenny Clark for years here in the Green Bay. I know what he can do. Obviously, he's not Micah Parsons as a pass rusher or anything like that, but he is stout against the run. But I'm not very confident in the Dallas defense as a whole anyways, even when they had Micah Parsons. So my starts for the game are Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Jake Ferguson. For the Eagles, it's Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. My sits are Javonte Williams for the Dallas Cowboys, the running back there, as well as Miles Sanders, the running back, and tight end Dallas Goedert for the Philadelphia Eagles. I just don't think he's going to be involved a lot in this game. The sleeper for this game is rookie Jaden Blue, mainly because I think he could end up getting a lot of catches if the Cowboys fall behind with that Eagles defense being able to slow down Dallas and the Dallas defense not being able to slow down the Eagles. So we move on. Next game, Chargers versus Chiefs. This is the Friday night game in Brazil. My starts of the week for this game are Pat Mahomes, Xavier Worthy, Isaiah Pacheco, and Travis Kelce. I'm still starting Kelce. For the Chargers, Justin Herbert, Amari Hampton, Ladd McConkey, and Tyler Conklin. I'm a big fan of Tyler Conklin. I've already told you guys that. I think he could end up being a very beneficial player that got drafted late or is undrafted, is on your waiver wire. Go check him out. My sits of the week for this game are Najee Harris. We don't even know if he's going to play yet, so I definitely can't recommend playing him. Hollywood Brown, the Chiefs' number 2 currently, with Rashee Rice being suspended. And Trey Harris, the rookie. And you can put Quentin Johnston on this list as well. I don't plan on playing any of those other receivers there other than Ladd McConkey week 1 as I watch to find out what's working out. But my sleeper is Keenan Allen, simply for the fact that he's back. Herbert knows how to roll with him. I almost put him in the start category, and put Conklin down here in the sleeper pick. Either or, those are both guys that are fringe starts, could be very beneficial to the Chargers this year. And they might eat away from each other in that short-range passing game. But Keenan Allen's a pro. He knows what he's doing. Tyler Conklin's a pro. He knows what he's doing. I think both could be the second and third receiver on this team for the majority of this season. We move into our first game of Sunday, Cardinals-Saints. My starts for this game are Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, James Conner, and I'm going to start Marvin Harrison Jr., even though I would love to see more. I still think he's a player you should be starting every week. Probably as a third receiver, maybe a flex guy. And for the Saints, it's Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave. There's other guys on that team, but I cannot recommend starting any of them yet. My sits are obvious. A lot of Saints here. Spencer Rattler, Kendre Miller, Rashid Shaheed, who I'm a big fan of, but I got to see if Rattler can even get the ball to him downfield. Tight end Juwan Johnson. If you're in desperate need of a tight end, go pick up Juwan Johnson. He'll be serviceable. He'll probably get 4 catches a game or something like that. Just not expect a lot of big plays or a lot of touchdowns from him. And the last one is Michael Wilson, wide receiver from the Cardinals. Not a big fan of his as it is. They needed to get a number 2. I thought they could have signed Keenan Allen. They still got Michael Wilson. Unless he takes another step, I won't be recommending starting him at all this season. And the sleeper for this game is Trey Benson, the backup running back to James Conner there in Arizona. If the Cardinals do get up, there's no need to run Conner into the ground in week 1. So they're going to be splitting. There's already plans for them to split more carries this year. And if the Cardinals get up enough, 14 points or something, Trey Benson's going to get a lot of clock. So he could be a guy that you start as a flex player and ends up scoring a lot of points. Get you 10, 12 points. I shouldn't say a lot, but like 10, 12 points and be able to fill in that spot this week. Maybe you got you drafted a guy who's on IR. You need someone to fill that spot right now. Trey Benson might be able to do that this week. Move on to the Dolphins versus the Colts. Starts of the week, rookie Tyler Warren, the tight end. He is the only Colt other than Michael Pittman, and I'm not big on Pittman. You see he's on the second layer there. Just not big on Michael Pittman, but I do believe he's still the number 1 there. But for the Dolphins, it's Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, and Jalen Waddle. These are the guys I would recommend starting for Miami, the main parts of their offense. Sits, this is a hard one for me because I love Ollie Gordon, and I might have to start him in my league, my home league, because we start 3 running backs, and I waited a long time for my backup or for my number 2 and 3 running backs. So if Achane's still banged up going into this game, he's going to drop to a sit, and Ollie Gordon would be a start. But if Achane's playing, I'm recommending starting him, seeing what they do with Ollie Gordon, seeing how much they use him. If they're going to put him in that Mostert role, you're going to be able to start him all season. If they're not, and it's still going to be a majority of Achane like it was last year because Jalen Wright couldn't really do anything. Mostert was older and got banged up. They just didn't really have a true number 2 running back. Ollie Gordon is true number 2 running back. I just got to see it for a week before I feel confident in starting him the rest of the time. As well as that, Darren Waller, he came out of retirement, just barely got off the pup list because he had to get into shape, even though he said he was in the best shape of his life. Can't recommend starting him. For the Colts side, Daniel Jones, Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell, put Alec Pierce in there. I'm not recommend starting anybody in Tyler Warren the majority of the season because I don't have confidence in this quarterbacks. My sleeper for this game, Malik Washington, the wide receiver for the Dolphins. If the tight ends aren't doing anything, Malik Washington could end up putting up a touchdown, maybe 50 yards on a touchdown on a bomb or something like that. It could be a sneaky sleeper pick for this game for sure to get a touchdown and be able to be a flex player this week. Raiders versus Patriots. Our starts are Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, Ashton Genty. Don't think any of those are surprises. I am recommending starting Drake May just because that rushing capability makes him an honest guy. But if I could, I would sit him. Stephon Diggs, think he's the number 1 there for right now. Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. I think you could start both of these guys in a flex spot or a third running back spot and be okay with that going into this game because I don't believe Travion Henderson is taking over week 1. I believe that Ramondre Stevenson is still going to be involved for at least the first 4 to 8 games this season before he just becomes a guy that you're going to have to spot start at all. My sits for this game, Hunter Henry, Trey Tucker, Demario Douglas, a.k.a. Pop, and Kyle Williams, the rookie there in New England. I got to figure out how much Douglas and Williams are going to be on the field, taking time away from each other. So I can't recommend either of those week 1. Not to mention, I don't think the Patriots are going to be a great team this year. So, like I said, if I could sit Drake May, I'm going to. But I know a lot of these larger leagues or 2 QB leagues, Drake May is going to start, and I understand that. So I went ahead and put him in the start. My sleeper for this game is Dante Thornton Jr. That's all there is to it. I've been talking about him all offseason. Love this kid. He's going to be the number 2 receiver you want on this team. My buddy stole him from me in the last round. I know I should have picked him the round before, as I felt about it. But he's a Raiders fan, so not surprised he knows about him. Just a late guy to get in your draft. And we just did our home draft. I wish I would have got him. But I did get Ollie Gordon in that Dolphins team, which was another one of my late round guys. Steelers versus Jets. Starting Garrett Wilson. I'm starting Justin Fields. I told you his rushing capability, especially if he's going to be getting pressured out of that pocket, he's got to get out. It's going to be on full display. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. I'm starting all 4 of these guys for the Jets simply for the fact that I think the run game that they're going to do is going to be beneficial to Fields, Breece Hall, and Braylon Allen. Touchdowns are going to go here to there, but Breece Hall is a starting running back. Braylon Allen is like a flex guy, a third running back guy. And Justin Fields is going to be at least the number 2 quarterback. So your super flex leagues, that's where you're looking for him. Jalen Warren and DK Metcalf for the Steelers. Those are the only guys I recommend starting week 1. My sits for this game, Aaron Rodgers, Jonnu Smith, Pat Fryermuth, Caleb Johnson, Josh Reynolds. I know some people are going to be forced to start Aaron Rodgers. I can't recommend it, kind of like the Drake May thing. They're one of those guys that are right there on the fringe that I don't want to recommend starting. If you're in a larger league or 2 QB league, I understand if you are, but I would be trying not to start Aaron Rodgers this week. Mainly because of defense. This game is going to be a defensive game. I think it's going to be a run game and a defensive game. And if that's the way it plays out, then you're not going to see a lot of points and you're not going to see a lot of fantasy production. My sleeper for this game, tight end Mason Taylor, the rookie for the Jets. If he can pop off, maybe get some of those down the seam, right behind those linebackers that are blitzing, Mason Taylor could definitely be a beneficial player and grow into their number 2 receiver. I'm sure that's what they want. Moving on to the Giants and Commanders, we have starts for this game. Jaden Daniels, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. Terry McLaurin, Austin Eckler, Deebo Samuel. For the Giants, I have Tyrone Tracy and Malik Neighbors, and no one else for those Giants. My sit players here, Russell Wilson. Can't recommend starting him. I think Washington's going to have a good defense, and it's only a matter of time, I feel like, before Jackson Dart takes over. Now, Russ can still throw the moon ball. We saw that in the preseason. But I just don't think they have enough weapons to make him a valuable starting quarterback. I would prefer him to be my number 3 in a 2 QB league. If you do have to start him, I understand. He's still got Malik Neighbors. He's still got Tyrone Tracy. They got the young kid Collins, the rookie, that caught the moon ball. But I'm not a big fan of what the Giants are doing on offense. So other than Tracy and Neighbors, there's no one else I would have wanted on this team. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Bill. I want to recommend starting Bill. He's on my team. I drafted him. But I don't know how much Chris Rodriguez is going to be involved. For the Giants, Cam Scatterboo's guy I'm sitting. Zach Ertz, I'm sitting him mainly because I don't think the Commanders are going to have to score a whole lot. And so that would and he's going to be staying in to help with that pass rush. Devin Singletary, Darius Slayton, Theo Johnson. I don't want any of those guys from the Giants starting either. My sleeper is Chris Rodriguez Jr., mainly because he's part of the equation there in Washington right now, I feel like. And I got to see week 1 who besides Austin Eckler is going to get the majority of the carries. Is it going to be Bill and Rodriguez splitting those other carries? Is it going to be all Bill? Is it going to be all Rodriguez? I'm not sure. But Bill is the new Chuck Norris. I don't know if you watch the Footballers or anything like that. They did a hilarious bit about Bill Krosky. And they basically just gave phrases that you'd say about Chuck Norris. But it's hilarious. It's a good watch. You should go check it out. But at the end of the day, if Chris Rodriguez is the guy that they put out there first in front of McCory Krosky Merritt, he's definitely going to be a guy you're going to want to pick up as a waiver wire ad, just on somebody that nobody's paying attention to. Moving on, we got the Panthers and Jags. Starts for this game, Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Etienne, and Brenton Strange for the Jags. Tank Bigsby, I got up there. I think I think that's going to be like a 50-50 timeshare, kind of like it was last year. I think you could start him in your flex, same as Etienne. He's probably like a third receiver, running back, flex running back. But they're guys you could put out there and get points from, especially in a game against the Panthers that don't have a great defense. As well, on my other starts for the Panthers there, it's Teteroa McMillan, Chuba Hubbard, Bryce Young. I think I don't want to start Bryce Young, but this is a game you can and get away with it and still get some points out of it. Probably get 15, 18 points as a number 2 quarterback. And if he ends up throwing for a few touchdowns, you're going to have a 25-point day, 28-point day. At the end of the day, I would say he's a fringe starter. And if you can find somebody better, great for you. My sits for this game, Xavier Legette, Jatavian Sanders, the tight end for the Panthers, and Rico Dowdle, Hubbard's backup. I don't know how much Dowdle is going to be involved over the course of the season. I think he's more of an insurance policy, especially after the issues they had last year with the backups behind Hubbard. But Rico Dowdle will probably be in. He might get 8 to 10 touches a game, not really affecting Hubbard, just kind of relieving Hubbard. And if that's the case, he doesn't have any real fantasy value. He's more of an insurance policy. My sleeper for this game, Hunter Renfrow. Jalen Coker is on IR right now for at least the first 4 weeks. They just re-signed Hunter Renfrow. If you didn't see it, he put out he did an interview and he was talking about his daughter had his phone and she was just turning down calls from the Panthers. She turned down like 9 or 10 calls or something like that, and he didn't even know they were happening because she was watching some video on his phone. Just funny little story. Kids do crazy things. So once they did talk to him, though, he ended up signing back with the Panthers. He's going to be their starting slot receiver. And if you know anything about Hunter Renfrow, he's a hell of a route runner, man, and he could be helpful to Bryce Young there. I'm not a big Jatavian Sanders guy. I would rather see Mitchell Evans, the rookie from Notre Dame, starting at tight end, but that's my opinion. But Hunter Renfrow is a sleeper for this game, mainly because I think he could come out and get 6-7 catches and help that offense stay on the field. If he does, he's going to be a valuable fantasy asset. Even if it's 6 for 40, man, it's still like 8 or 10 points, depending on how your league scores. That's a solid flex player. So if he's on your waiver, maybe pick him up on a deep roster, deep bench. Next game, Bengals versus Browns. Starts are obvious here for the Bengals: Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. I don't think there's any question about that. For the Browns, I'm willing to start Jerome Ford this week, mainly because I have no faith in the Bengals defense, as well as Jerry Jeudy, Joe Flacco, David Njoku. I'm not going to be recommending Flacco a lot of weeks, but maybe you got that Aaron Rodgers versus the Jets game. I'll start Flacco over Aaron Rodgers this week. Sounds crazy right now, but based off the defenses they're playing, I'm more likely to lean Flacco. For the sit for this game, Mike Gesicki, Samaje Perine, Cedric Tillman, Dylan Sampson, Quinshon Judkins, if he ends up signing and they're trying to play him, because he ain't ready to play. He's not in football shape right now. Dylan Sampson is a sneaky pick. Almost made him my sleeper just because I think he will be involved earlier in the season. And I think Jerome Ford, after everything that's happened this offseason with Judkins, I think Ford and Sampson are probably going to be the leaders of this backfield for the first few weeks and let Judkins get into shape. But if it's not, if they shove Judkins in there, then it's going to be a disaster here in Cleveland, especially if they're trying to use all three, and you're not going to want any of them. They'll all be sits for the majority of the season if they're trying to do that. I would rather see them have 2 running backs, whether it's the 2 rookies or Ford and one of the rookies. And that way you know what kind of value you can get out of that second running back. But for week 1, I can't recommend playing Sampson or Judkins. My sleeper for this game, Harold Fannin Jr. I'm talking bad about that Bengals defense. Harold Fannin Jr. is going to play that big slot, kind of like what Colston Loveland's going to do in Chicago. If that's the case, he could definitely be a weapon for Flacco. You've seen him catch a touchdown in the preseason from Flacco in the one game Flacco played. And he's a guy, if you're in need of a tight end, or maybe there's a guy you haven't drafted yet, he's a late-round flyer, man, that him and Njoku are going to be on the field at the same time a lot. Similar to Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland. I believe they're going to be on the field a lot, which means there's 2 tight ends there to have some kind of value. But in this game, he'd be a sleeper start for me. Maybe you got a guy, he gets banged up in practice this week. Go pick up Harold Fannin Jr., man. Throw him out there, see what happens. Could end up getting a 12-point day from a guy. Bucks versus Falcons. Starts for this game, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, and Bucky Irving. For the Falcons, it's Michael Penix, Drake London, Bijan Robinson. And if Darnell Mooney does start, I would recommend starting him. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think they're both going to have to put points up. Their defenses are okay, but they're not dominant yet by any means. They got some young players that maybe grow into something over the course of the season. But right now, they're probably like the 14th to 15th best defenses, maybe 14th to 18th range, somewhere in there. And not something that's a true threat, but it's not something you expected 50 points from whoever the team plays them either. So I think this could be a 27 to 24 game. You get some points out there from these guys. My sits for this game, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, until you show me, I know there's a lot of hype in the preseason right now. Guess what? I've seen this story before. Hype up Kyle Pitts, he's a bust. Hype up Kyle Pitts, he's a bust. They're hyping up Kyle Pitts. You show me you're not a bust again, Kyle Pitts. That's all there is to it. Here's a prime game, especially if Mooney's out, you have all the opportunities in the world to say, hey, man, you can count on me. If you do that, Kyle Pitts, maybe we feel a different way about you going forward. But right now, I can't recommend starting it. Rashad White, he's been banged up all preseason. He's back at practice now, I believe. But not a guy I can recommend. I do think he'll have some catches if he plays. But I also think Sean Tucker's going to start getting more touches. And the backups are going to be splitting time. And Bucky Irving is just a starter, where the backups are splitting time and then figure out which one they want to play, which one they want to trade. And Tyler Algier, just don't think he's going to get a lot of touches in this game. He's always going to get 8 to 10 touches, but not anything big, not anything that you're worried about. And with this being a decent defense, it's hard to see him being involved a ton beneficially. Maybe he steals a touchdown, but I'm not betting on that in this game. So my sleeper for this game is Ray McCloud. If Darnell Mooney does not play, Ray McCloud is the receiver that you want to pick up in place of Mooney. So if you can put your guy, if he's ruled out, you can put him on IR for a day, and you go pick up Ray McCloud and start him this week, you'll be fine. 49ers versus the Seahawks. Starting Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall. Don't think those are in question. For the Seahawks, Ken Walker, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Those are the only 2 players I'm recommending from the Seahawks right now because we got to see if Darnold can do it in a new team and a new offense. He's the leader of the sit board, Sam Darnold, because part of me wants to start him. Like I said, I've always liked Darnold. I just need him to do it more. And now he switched teams. He took the hard route. And if he can go do it in Seattle, he'll be a recommended start for a good portion of the season. But until then, I cannot recommend starting Sam Darnold, especially against a defense that I respect right now, who's healthy right now. And over the course of the season, their lack of depth may show up, but week 1, they're pretty healthy, and they're going to be tough on Sam Darnold. Other sits, A.J. Barner, the tight end for Seattle, now that they cut Noah Fant. Juwan Jennings, he's coming off an injury. I love the guy, big play guy, but I can't recommend starting him this game. Cooper Kupp, does he still got it? I need to see it on the field before I say yes. Now, he's probably the healthiest he is all season, being an older guy. You know what I mean? You wear out over time. That's just all there is. Father time is undefeated, as they say. But Cooper Kupp, I would say sit him this week and see how to use him and the rookie Horton. And Zach Charbonnet, there's a lot of speculation they're going to be splitting more time. I got to see it before I can start him. Because last year, when Ken Walker was healthy, Charbonnet didn't have very much value. When Ken Walker's hurt, Charbonnet's through the roof. We know that. But when Walker is healthy, Charbonnet didn't have very much value. Now, they got a new OC there in Kubiak. Maybe he's got a different plan. But right now, I'm going to recommend sitting Zach Charbonnet week 1 and seeing how it plays out. And the sleeper for the Niners and Seahawks game is Torrey Horton. I think it's junior at Oregon State there. Big play guy. Going to replace that Lockett role probably in this offense, that type of player. And if Kupp isn't doing what he used to do, Torrey Horton's going to be the guy that is. That's all there is to it. Titans versus Broncos. Starts for this game, Bo Nixon, Cortland Sutton, Evan Ingram, R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins. I think you're going to be able to start both of these guys in this game against that Titan defense, both of those running backs there in Denver. I believe Dobbins is going to be in play. I believe Harvey is probably going to be like a 60-40, Harvey to Dobbins. For the Titans, I got Ridley and Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard doesn't really have anybody to even relieve him. They got the Chestnut kid there. But Tajay Spears is on IR the first 4 weeks. He's not going to be there taken away from him. Tony Pollard's going to get more carries, and then you'll see the other backups just come in and kind of split time. And Calvin Ridley, you know how I feel about him. Hell of a receiver. He's a guy I moved up my board, I think, to like the 16th best receiver, 17th best receiver, something like that. I'm expecting big things from him. But they're playing the Broncos. He's probably going to be the only receiver that gets off today on Sunday there. For my sits, Cam Ward, can't recommend starting him as a rookie first game against the Broncos defense that I think is going to be the best defense in the league. Marvin Mims, he's banged up right now. You want to see him out there as that full-time number 2, but until we do, with him being a little banged up, don't recommend starting him. Chig Okonkwo, I've never been a big Okonkwo guy. I know there was a lot of excitement for him 2 years ago, a little less excitement for him last year. I haven't even heard anybody mention this guy's name in fantasy this offseason, and there's a reason. He hasn't panned out to what we expected. Now, was that because the Mayo Man and Mason Rudolph, or was that because Chig Okonkwo? I think this week 1, you'll be able to find that out. Is he involved? Does the Ricky Gunnar Helm split time with him because he's a hell of a receiving option? We're going to find all that out pretty quick here. And the other sit, Tyler Lockett. I think him and the guys I got as a sleeper here, Alec Ayomaner. I think Ayomaner is going to be able to take over Tyler Lockett in no time. Now, Tyler Lockett still got a big play capability. Probably lost a little bit, so maybe not as fast as he used to be. That's why I got him as a sit. I'm not going to be recommending him. I didn't recommend you draft him in leagues. And Ayomaner is a guy that he's the next phase here. He's going to end up being the number 2 if he isn't already in Tennessee because his route running and hands are incredible. He was a later round pick coming out, I think, of Stanford. Just hell of a little receiver, man. And he's going to be like a relief valve for Cam Ward there in Tennessee. But he's a rookie. I can't recommend counting on him right away, especially being a later round pick. Other guys on the roster with Van Jefferson, Tyler Lockett, just other Calvin Ridley, obviously. But Aaron Maynard's a guy to look out for, and he's a sleeper in this game. If he comes out and has 7 catches, you should probably go pick him up because he ain't going to be out there very long. Lions versus the Packers. Starts for this game, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams. For the Packers, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden, Tucker Kraft. And I got Montgomery on here. I still think you can start him as a number 3 or a flex player. It was real on the fence there, though, for me, simply because I think this could be one of those games Montgomery maybe doesn't get a touchdown. He's used more as the bulldozer just to gain those extra yards, but maybe doesn't get into the end zone. I think Gibbs is going to start the games, whereas last year Montgomery was starting all the games. He misses out on a couple opportunities, doesn't get a touchdown. And he's a hell of a pass blocker, so he could be kept in to help with that Micah Parsons issue. My sits for this game are Romeo Doubs and Sam Laporta. Now, Sam Laporta you can start, don't get me wrong. But if I had the option of starting in a 1 tight end league, 2 tight end leagues, or you got him as a flex player, him and Andrews or something like that, you're starting with Sam Laporta. This is more of what I'm trying to tell you about what I think is going to happen in the game. I think Sam Laporta is going to be kept in more. He's a hell of a blocker. This is the thing about Sam Laporta and why you see Brock Wright catch a touchdown some games instead of Sam Laporta. Because Sam Laporta is one hell of a blocker. It shocked me how good he was as a rookie in last year. And with Micah Parsons being there, those other pass rushers they got there in Green Bay, the Van Nesses, the Quay Walkers, they keep him in on a lot of those plays to help out. Or they bring in a Dan Skipper as a 6th lineman. One of those guys come in as a 6th lineman. And if Sam Laporta is being kept in to block, he's not going to be out there running routes. And it's also why my sleeper is Isaac Tesla, the rookie wide receiver that the Lions drafted, where they may go 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, keep Laporta in the block, and let Tesla be that 3rd receiver for them. So something to keep your eye on. I don't think Tesla is going to be involved every week. I think Sam Laporta is still fine starting tight end. This is not saying, oh, you got to sit Sam Laporta. This is saying, look out for lower numbers this game. He's still going to be involved, but I'm not expecting a Sam Laporta like he was at the end of the second half last year for this game. That's all I wanted to make sure you understood. On to the next game, Texans versus the Rams. This is Sunday afternoon. This is the last 4:25 game. Starting C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins. I'm going to recommend starting Christian Kirk in this game just because I believe it's going to be a higher scoring game. And Nick Chubb. Now, some people want Woody Marks, the rookie. Some people want Dameon Pierce. What we know isn't happening is Joe Mixon because he's going to be out. And Nick Chubb is a starting running back there. If you watch the last preseason game, Nick Chubb went 5 for 25. I don't know about you, but that's 5 yards a carry. Now, it's a preseason game. Wasn't playing against all the starters. I'm expecting Nick Chubb to be around like 4.2 a carry. More importantly, I'm expecting Nick Chubb to get like 40 to 50 yards and a touchdown. I think he's going to be David Montgomery, what his stats normally are. 50 yards and a touchdown. 50 yards and a touchdown. I think they're still going to use those other guys, but I believe Nick Chubb is a starter. I believe Nick Chubb will get the majority of the carries. Maybe he ends up getting 80 yards and a touchdown. And with that pass game, it's going to open up holes for Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb still knows how to run into people and fall forward. So I'm not saying Nick Chubb's going to be old Nick Chubb. I'm saying Nick Chubb is still going to be a serviceable number 3 running back, maybe a low-end number 2, and a guy that you can put in there week 1 against this Rams defense and still count on getting 10 points out of. For the Rams, Matt Stafford, as long as he's playing, I'm recommending you start him, unless it comes out that, his back's worse and you see it in the game. That's what I got to see in the game. I'm recommending you starting him week 1 because if he's playing, I'm starting him, along with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Kyron Williams. Now, sits for the game, Dalton Schultz, Blake Corum. You could put Tyler Higbee on here. I probably should have. And the sleeper for this game, and my sleeper for this game is Jaden Higgins, the rookie out of Iowa State. They got 2 rookies out of Iowa State with Jalen Noel. But I think he's more of a Christian Kirk player. Higgins is more of the outside big body, Mike Evans type, Nico Collins type player that CJ Stroud is going to put to work because they're going to be doubling Nico on a regular basis. Higgins could be that guy. Kirk, I got in the starting lineup because he's that underneath guy. He's going to be that slot guy for him. Going to get enough catches. You saw it last year with Diggs. That role is valuable. But Jaden Higgins is the big play guy to go with Nico on the outside. And if they kind of like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, if they can run that type of offense, they're both valuable. On to the Ravens versus Bills. Sunday night football game. My starts for this game, pretty obvious. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers for Baltimore. On the Buffalo side is Josh Allen, James Cook. And if Khalil Shakir plays, start him. If he doesn't, start Keon Coleman, who I actually have as a sit right now, along with my sits are Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Dalton Kincaid, and Keon Coleman. Like I said, if Shakir's out, I'm starting Coleman. If Bateman's one of those tweener guys. If you got a larger league, a fourth receiver, a flex spot, something like that, I probably recommend starting Bateman. He can always catch a bomb. But at the end of the day, I believe Hopkins is going to be on the field enough to disrupt Bateman's opportunities. And the same with Coleman. My sleeper here is Josh Palmer for this game. Josh Palmer is a great route runner, but the Bills just re-signed Gabe Davis. I feel like anybody behind Khalil Shakir is going to be an issue. Is it Keon Coleman? Is it Josh Palmer? Is it who did I just say? Who is it? Gabe Davis? Is it Dalton Kincaid? Is it Dawson Knox? The Bills are kind of like the Chiefs. They got all these guys, but none of them you can really count on other than one or two maybe. I'm going with James Cook and Khalil Shakir as the two I can count on to catch passes from Josh Allen. The rest of these guys are kind of a crapshoot, and that's all there is to it. I still expect the Bills to have a good offense, but they had a good offense last year, and the tight ends weren't worth anything. Khalil Shakir was the only player catching enough passes to say start him every week. So it's just something that I think is going to kind of be a repeat of what their offense was last year. Now, Gabe Davis, that's where he had all his success, was there in Buffalo. Maybe he comes back and he learns how to catch the ball. But I've had my battles with Gabe Davis. I'm done with him. I can't recommend starting him at all. The Monday night football game, our final game of the week, Vikings versus the Bears. Good old NFC North battle. My starts for this game, Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and DeAndre Swift. If I can sit DeAndre Swift, I'm going to. And if I can sit Caleb Williams, I'm going to. But I don't know who you got on your team. I don't know how big your rosters are. Vikings have a good defense, but their DBs are a little bit Their safeties are all right, but their DBs are so-so. So that's why I still think you can start DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. For the Vikings, this is Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. Those three guys, I don't think you should have any issue starting. My sits for this game are JJ McCarthy, mainly because I'm not big on JJ McCarthy. I got to see him do it. That's all there is to it. Jordan Mason, yes, he's going to be involved. Against the Chicago defense, maybe not as much. Chicago defense is a damn good defense. Maybe not top 10, but definitely top 15. And they're dangerous at times. That's what I can tell you. Now, they just lost one of their DBs up to IR. We'll see how well that goes and how much that impacts their ability to stop the pass. That's why I'm always going to recommend starting Jefferson and Hawkinson, period. Aaron Jones, I think he's still got a little left in the tank, and I believe they're going to be back to the way they used him in Green Bay, where Jordan Mason is kind of that plotter. Aaron Jones is more of the receiving back, but in this game, I think that's going to be the more valuable end. My other sits, Adam Thielen, he just got there, guys. Give it a moment, all right? I know Jordan Addison is out. Give Adam Thielen a game. Maybe he's a recommended start in week 2 if he comes out and does what we think what he used to be able to do. But he's one of those Cooper Kupps, man. You got to prove to me you still got it. Other sits, Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, and Luther Burden. The two rookies as well as Cole Kmet. I can't recommend starting any of these guys until we see how Ben Johnson's planning on using them all. Maybe he's not using Kmet at all. He just keeps them in as a blocker. Maybe Colston Loveland's only on the field half the time. Maybe Luther Burden doesn't play a lot, or maybe he takes DJ Moore's spot. Right now, I'm going to go with what I believe, which is DJ Moore, Rome Odunze are the starters. Luther Burden's going to be that guy that comes on the field sometimes. Colston Loveland splitting time with Cole Kmet as a receiving option and isn't on the field on run plays. So, my sleeper for this game and the final sleeper is Kyle Monangai. I think he's already passed Roshan Johnson. Roshan's still going to be involved a little bit, but I think Monangai is going to be the guy they want as that number 2 and possibly to take over DeAndre Swift as a number 1 and let Swift be just a receiving back. Got to see it happen first. That's why he's down here as a sleeper, not recommended as a start or a sit. He's just a guy to be paying attention to. Other than that, guys, hope you guys enjoy the show. Tell me what you agree with, what you disagree with. Feel free to comment. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to get out of here. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Till next time, I'm out. First down, Punts!